Until recently, if you wanted a 3-row all-electric SUV, you were looking at more luxury performance options with higher price tags. We're talking the Rivian R1S, the Tesla Model X, the Mercedes-Benz EQS. But Kia is aiming to change that with this, the EV9, a much more mainstream offering where the base price of the lowest trim starts at just under $55,000. There are 4 different trims, and they're mainly named after different things found in nature. We have the light, we have the wind, we have the land, and then we have the GT line, which matches the nomenclature found in other Kia models. What you need to know is the GT line is the current top tier trim. And today, we're going to take this 2024 Kia EV9 GT line for a review. The GT line has a dual motor all-wheel drive setup with torque vectoring, making 379 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. It will do 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds, and thanks to the 800-volt architecture, it has pretty quick charging too. On a 350 kilowatt DC fast charger, it can do 10% to 80% in as little as 24 minutes. It'll add 100 miles in 10 minutes, which is pretty good. In terms of overall range, this one here will do 270 miles on a full charge. The longest range version of the EV9 would be the light rear-wheel drive with the long-range battery. That one will do 304 miles. There are 2 different battery sizes. For the base car, the light rear-wheel drive, it has a 76.1 kilowatt-hour battery pack, but all other trims get the larger one, a 99.8 kilowatt-hour battery pack. In terms of exterior styling, the EV9 overall size is similar to the Telluride, but it has a much longer wheelbase. And they did such a fantastic job on the design of this SUV. It has some really unique touches. Just look at the front lighting signature here. We have 24 little LED light cubes that make up the headlight, flanked on either side with these lightning bolt shaped DRLs. And then we have this star map LED light pattern. There's an animation coming across the front fascia. I have never seen that on another car before. It is so cool. You can also order an EV9 in a matte finish paint from the factory. Yes, you can get a Kia in a matte paint from the factory. This one here obviously is finished in a gloss paint, this really nice ocean blue. It's on 21-inch wheels. It's also pretty aerodynamic. Has a coefficient of drag of just 0.28, which is actually better than a Pagani Huayra. But probably more importantly, it's better than the Rivian R1S. With that, let's hop in the car, take it for a drive, talk about the interior, what it's like to drive, and the value. All right, let's go for a drive. So the power button's actually here on this stalk for selecting park, reverse, neutral, drive, and you twist the end. Into drive we go, and we're off. Let's talk about the interior first. So this is a more mainstream SUV, but because we have the GT line here, it's fairly well equipped. So it has some really nice tech and features. We have 2 12.3-inch digital displays, the center cluster here and the infotainment screen, which is straightforward, easy to use. Been running wireless CarPlay the whole time, but the couple times I've had to go into the menu to change things, whether it's playing with the ambient lighting setup or changing some of the driver assistant things. It's very intuitive, very friendly. The icons are great. And something I really like is not only do we have physical toggles here for your temperatures for climate setting, but we also have this always on little touch screen here. Doesn't matter what's happening with CarPlay or this screen or what's on the main cluster, you can still have a lot more of your climate settings right here. So that is a great interface in my opinion. Below that, we've got some buttons on the actual dash across there, and the materials are really interesting. Nothing over the top, right? It's more regular kind of plastic, soft touch plastics, interesting use of cloth, and I think all like synthetic leather and things like that, but it all feels fairly high quality. Fit and finish seems quite nice. Design is really interesting too. The steering wheel is this like split 2-spoke thing with buttons on it that are, again, very, very easy and friendly to use. On the left side, we have things for all the driver assistance, adaptive cruise control, lane keep, distance, things like that. On the right side, you're interfacing with your infotainment system, right? You can skip forward tracks or you're listening to music, volume up and down, mute, all very, very easy. You do have paddle shifters, but it's not for changing gears because EV, right? And like all the other Hyundai Kia EVs, it's for changing the level of regen. The right pedal has a minus on it because you're actually reducing the amount, the level of regenerative braking. The left side is a plus. So if I go all the way to max, it's I pedal, which is one pedal driving. You let off the accelerator and you start slowing down immediately. If you can reduce the threshold, so there's actually 4 different levels. You go max, level 3, level 2, level 1, and I guess level 0, right? So it's pretty much coasting now in level 0. I personally like less regen braking because I don't drive EVs 100% of the time. So going between gas cars and EVs, I'm more used to not having regen braking. If you spend all your time with an EV, you'll probably get used to one pedal driving because that is a really, really cool thing with electric vehicles. And then we have the drive mode button, 4-wheel drive lock. Drive mode, that's fun, right? So let's go into normal and into sport. We have eco, normal, sport, my drive, and snow. What it changes is some of the accelerator mapping. I know sport definitely makes the steering a bit heavier, and this is really cool, the bolsters snug up. As soon as I put it into sport mode, the bolsters like hug me a little bit tighter. So that is a really, really cool thing. The only other time I've been in a car with like active bolsters like this has been like a Mercedes S-Class, right? Where it'll like kind of hug you with the opposite bolster when you take a turn. And the Kia EV9 has these active bolsters on it. In sport mode, that's going to be the quickest, right? You get the most responsive accelerator, gives you that full 516 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds is pretty good, actually. Another highlight of the interior is the packaging. Really, really cool usage of space. So the center console here, we can cover this up, but if you open it up, these are cup holders, but also they rotate away if you just want to use them as storage. And then here, I'll move that out of the way. The key fob is there, put that there. You press a button, and it like shoots out into cup holders again. That's so cool. Wireless phone charger here, a little storage there, big storage underneath, and it's pretty much a pass-through between the front rows. Same thing in the back, a lot of innovative storage. This one is currently set up as a 6-seater. We have the captain's chairs out back. You can get this as a 7-seater too. Second row, they claim 42.8 inches of legroom total, so that's quite impressive. You can fit adults back there, and all the front and second row seats have like this like recliner mode where there's a leg rest that comes out, and you can like lay back and relax if you're waiting for your car to charge or waiting for somebody to come out of the store, whatever it is, right? So it's, again, a really, really nice interior. The headrests on the EV9 are so cool. I think these are the most comfortable headrests outside of like a Mercedes Maybach. They're this like stretchy, bouncy mesh material. Like almost, it reminds me of like a high-end office chair, like a Herman Miller chair or something like that, where you put your head into it and it's got like the perfect amount of like the give, the bounce, right? It's like a really, really nice headrest. It's so cool. This one's got the gray, black, and white two-tone finish. Heated cooled seats. Second row, I believe, is also heated cooled. The driver's seat is massaged. They call it ergo motion. You can select it with the button. You've got pelvic, lumbar, or whole body. I'll go with whole body, please, but I believe it is just the driver that gets that. May need to make sure driver's attentive, right? We also have a 14-speaker, 700-watt Meridian sound system, plenty of headroom, digital rear view mirror, visibility is fantastic. There's a lot of really nice things to like about the interior of the EV9. I'm definitely quite impressed, especially as a more mainstream offering. Now, driving. What is this like to drive? This does not have any sort of advanced fancy suspension system. We don't have air suspension, adaptive dampers, just conventional suspension. And given that, I was quite impressed with how well this thing rides. In terms of ride quality, it handles pretty well too. I think we can attribute some of that to the low center of gravity due to the battery pack, but they did a really good job, and this one's on big wheels too, right? It's quick. Off the line, it's very smooth around town. Passing power is definitely sufficient. I wouldn't consider this like over the top fast. If they ever do an EV9 GT, then we're talking, right? I just drove that EV6 GT from Kia with 576 horsepower in a drift mode, and that was hilarious. That was straight up performance crossover in EV form. So maybe they'll do an EV9 GT and you'll get stuff up to the, maybe touching upon some of the more performance, more expensive oriented EVs in the segment. Noise isolation is quite good. That's the thing with electric vehicles, right? You don't have your internal combustion engine, all the mechanical noise, your exhaust. So a lot of other things become much more apparent. When I come to a stop, like right there, I could hear a little bit of that ethereal hum from the outside because, EVs have to make those like spaceship noises. But when you're driving, wind noise, not bad at all. Even at freeway speeds, not bad at all. Sometimes a little bit of road noise will intrude into the cabin, but overall, I would say they did a fantastic job with acoustic isolation from the outside world. And again, this is not supposed to be a Genesis. It's not the mainstream, or it's not the high-end luxury version. So definitely impressive from that regard. We also have a nice set of driver assistant features. So blind view monitor is one of my favorite things on Kia Hyundai vehicles. When you indicate to either lane change or turn, it pulls up the live camera feed from that direction you're going in your cluster right in front of you. And it's such a nice add-on to A, blind spot warning, B, using your eyes and looking back there, right? It's just a really, really nice feature. I find it really convenient when I'm making highway lane changes. This also has Highway Drive Assistant 2, so Gen 2, right? Which means it has the lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control. It can make lane changes on its own when you indicate. It's not quite as advanced as a full hands-free system. It will remind you to put your hands on the steering wheel while you're driving, but it does feel quite confident, right? So sometimes the older systems are not so great ones. You feel like a ping pong ball. You're like bouncing between the lane lines. This one, I used it out on the freeway that I was heading down here to film, and it was good. It was definitely good. And then the whole other set of safety and driver assistance features, of course, it has that. Let's punch it. So see, it's smooth build of power, but nothing overwhelming. It befits it as a, full-size 3-row family SUV, right? Kia has kind of positioned this as like an EV version of the Telluride. They branded it separately, but from a size standpoint, it's pretty similar. And styling, you can see some shared cues. It's got a similar overall length, but because of that EV architecture, it has a much longer wheelbase, which makes it look really, really cool too. The styling is a whole step up. I really love the styling on this. And in terms of driving dynamics, I think I prefer this to the Telluride. Just, it suits it so well. It rides very comfortably. You're isolated from the road. It's quiet. It's torquey. It just does the whole driving around town, day-to-day cruising super, super nicely. Range-wise, I'm doing all right in real-world situation, right? So it's rated at 270 miles, and I've had a reasonable mix of highway driving around town, some stopping. I had it running while I was filming, so I had the lights on and things like that. So currently, since recharging, we've driven 175 miles, averaging 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour, which with a 99.8 kilowatt hour battery pack, puts us right around that stated range. Now, you don't always get to use 100% of the capacity of the battery. There'll always be a little bit in reserve, but I think I'll probably get between 250-ish to 260 on a full tank of electrons. I will be charging this up today, so I will try out that. Hopefully I can find a fast charger with Electrify America, and hopefully it actually works, because that's always the challenge, right? So rear-wheel livability is pretty good. I've had it for this whole week, and I've been driving around, and really the range anxiety that I experience is going away. The more I spend time with all these different EVs, the less I worry about that kind of stuff. All right, sport mode, let's floor it. Just hear the tires a little bit of, I don't know, call it torque steer. It wanders a little bit, but gets up and goes. I don't know if we have like performance degradation because we're down to like 31% battery. I don't know if that drops off, but reasonably quick off the line. Definitely very, very torquey. 379 and 516 pound-feet of torque. So let's talk about value. The EV9 base trim starts at just under $55,000. The GT line is right at $73,000, and this one is optioned up to $78,000. And all the other ones kind of sit in between that price range. So at 78 grand, this has the ocean blue paint, which was $695. It's got the second row relaxation package, which was $2,000. It has some miscellaneous like carpets, destination delivery, so 78 grand. Now, a lot of people might see that like $78,000 for a Kia. Whoa, everything is so expensive these days. And I hear that, right? Kia has always been a more mainstream brand. But in recent times, their new generation vehicles, I've been so impressed with essentially all of them that I've driven, ranging from the Stinger GT, right? A more luxury performance sedan that I actually considered selling an Audi S4 and buying a Stinger GT because I liked it that much, to the Kia Carnival, the MPV, which is a minivan, to the EV6 GT that I was driving recently. Is 576 horsepower EV crossover with a drift mode, right? I've been really, really impressed. Now, we do have two more tiers to go. You have Hyundai and you have Genesis. So this is, again, still has to be a mainstream one. And at 78 grand, it is pricey. But after spending a week living with it, driving it around for this review, just spending time with it, I just come away with a sense of satisfaction. It just does everything so well. It's easy to drive. It's comfortable. The styling is so cool. Sitting in the driveway, going to dinner, seeing it in a parking lot, it just looks so unique and distinctive. It's a fresh design take, and some of the innovations and styling cues are so cool. I've had more people ask me what I think about this EV9 GT line this week than I have the $140,000 Mercedes GLE 63S AMG that I'm also driving this week, right? I think part of it is this is new. People have heard some cool things about it, but it has piqued the interest. So if you're looking for a three-row family crossover that you want to try it electric and you haven't been able to because they've either been too expensive or too small, right? This is worth some consideration. I really like it. I'm really impressed. One final point on the price point. So a Rivian R1S starts at around $75,000. So you could say it overlaps here, but those easily option up to $100,000 and more. You will get a lot more power, range, and some other gadgets and like cool tech features, right? So it is, I still view it as kind of like a segment up. Rivian did just launch the R2, so that'll be really, really interesting. A slightly smaller version. But this is the first entry. There will be more to come. The other automakers will start adding. They started up top with trucks and full-size SUVs or maybe smaller cars, and they got to fill in all the different tiers now. But as a first entry, the EV9 is properly impressive. Starts with the exterior. Really, really eye-catching design, really cool innovations, really cool technology. There's so many times where I just do something with the vehicle, I'm like, discover something, I'm like, whoa, that's really cool. I love they have a little climate panel that just stays there, right? I love the center console area, the cool innovations for making it very practical and flexible. The headrest, such a cool thing. It just does the whole car thing really, really well. It's easy, it's approachable, it's friendly. I've really enjoyed my time with the EV9 GT line. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Make sure you check out my living with vlog, which is a little more informal, behind the scenes, spending a week living with the EV9 GT line. Thanks for watching.